this city that I believe is unfair to all the contractors in the county and anyone else who wants to come and work here. Because of the fact that the requirements are really unfair in a sense, because the state law says that we have to register as home improvement contractors, and that covers us for the whole state.
I'm sorry, I stole this pen and didn't realize it.
Okay, well, thank you for not.
I apologize.
Okay. No problem. I'm flexible, believe it or not. Anyway, the thing is, the situation exists in the city that only a certain few contractors have licenses because of your requirements. I do believe that there is a type of monopoly going on here. I'm not going to get into any things that I've heard from other contractors about seedy things. But I would just like to say that I believe that the city should honor the state license for residential home repair and improvements. Because I've called every other county, borough, and town in this county, they have all dropped their requirements because everyone is now required to be licensed at the state. To be licensed at the state, they go through accountable. It's a pretty difficult process to go through. It's a criminal background check, and you have to have proof of insurance. I just want to know from the council, why would the city not honor the state license? This is the Attorney General's office now. They have a lot of power to hold people accountable. I'm 100% for licensing, but let me give you a quick example. When I lived in the state of Virginia, the county licensed contractors for under $1,000 jobs, whatever they were doing. And if you did jobs over $1,000, then you would have to be licensed by the state. And they really held people accountable. And that's what I believe the Attorney General is going to do. I would like the council to revisit this situation and honor the state license for residential contractors. And you know, you'll have more competition coming in here. I'm hearing complaints from citizens that say, well, if we have to call an electrician or a plumber, we have to pay an exorbitant amount of money. That's unfair. You're punishing the citizens here. There's not enough competition with the contractors. People in this city need more choice on who they can call. And I really think you need to do away with your system the way it exists, or fix the system, because it is unfair to the citizens. The other issue I really I'll touch on briefly is I have a fire service background of a total of 30 years service, 25 of them in Washington, D.C., and I am 100% for code enforcement. However, the city of Wilkes Barre has ridiculous requirements for code enforcement. It was in the paper about having to pay a permit fee for a toilet. And then the answer that I heard was, well, it's a safety reason. I don't know anybody in my 30-year career that's been killed by a toilet, or even, well, maybe the lid banged down on somebody's head or whatever, but the fact remains is it's not a safety issue. I'm bidding on a job in Wilkes Barre, and there's 14 windows. The lady's doesn't have much money, and you're gonna charge her to fix her own house, which in turn improves the home. What's happening here is, it's so counterproductive the way your system operates. I'm for permit fees, I'm for inspections, but they're exorbitant. Why should people have to pay a permit fee to install a front door? It's not structural. Why should you have to pay to install? You need to relook at all this, and you should have mercy on the people. They're struggling out there. They're struggling to improve their homes, and they're struggling to live, and you're making it extremely, not you, the city system is making it extremely difficult for people to afford to fix up their homes. Materials are exorbitantly expensive these days, and we're just asking that you revisit all these laws and give the folks of this city a break. And here's what will happen. If you open this up and let the state be accountable for the contractors, you'll have more contractors coming in here. You might lose a little bit of revenue, but you'll have more contractors coming in here, frequenting the restaurants, buying their gasoline, buying materials on businesses that are structured.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's all I have to say, basically. But I want to revisit, and I hope we could work in cooperation with visiting this thing and trying to improve conditions for the citizens of the city. They need a break on some of these permit fees, which are absolutely ridiculous. Thank you.
Any questions, Mr.
I just have one comment. I agree with a lot of things that you said. I'm a contractor. I totally disagree with competition. There is plenty of competition, plenty. And that's the only downfall to your argument.
Okay, that's a good point. However, 5 years ago, I contracted to rehab a house on Carlisle Street, and I got a temporary license. And I I set my customer up to pull the permits because I was used to Virginia and customers can pull the permits. And my customer was treated with the utmost disrespect. And she came back to the house crying and so upset the way she was treated. In fact, the words that were said to her, "Who is that stupid idiot contractor that doesn't know enough to pull his own permits?" Well, I'm sorry, I came from somewhere else and I wasn't aware of that law. And the thing is, when I went to that office that day, I said, "Do you have information on what I can do, what I can't do? What are your requirements?" Nobody in that office, they don't know what the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing in that office. I could go in there tomorrow and say, "What can I do here?" And they have no clue. What can I do with a permit? What can I, nobody, there's no standard here. You need to straighten this mess out. And here's the other thing.
Okay,
I paid
let's not get
$100.
carried away here.
Okay, I paid $100 for a test. And the law says that they were to required to notify me certified mail. And they did not. When I questioned it, they said, "Nah, oh well." That's like basically their attitude was. You need to really look at that code enforcement down there. And I hope we can all work together on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Mr. Kavaloski, please.
These guys gotta make some big campaign contributions to the mayor.
State your name and address for the record, please, and let it, for the record, Mr. Kavaloski has 1 extra minute this evening, so we're a total of 6 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Mrs. King.
Name and address for the record, please.
Bob Kalabowski, 41 New Frederick Street. First of all, I have 4 issues I want to talk about, and I'm asking for 5 minutes on each issue. I want to show me the rule where I can't talk about multiple subjects before I start.
You have 6 minutes, Mr. Kavaloski.
Mrs. Kane, I want to talk about multiple issues. Attorney Henry, am I allowed to, can I have those papers? I put in
After he's done.
4 different papers. I want to talk about 4 different things, and I need 5 minutes on each situation. Am I violating a council rule by asking to talk about 4 issues? I need 5 minutes on each issue.
Tonight you have 6 minutes, Bob. See how many you can get in that time.
Well, how is this fair? That's what I want to know. You just wonder why people don't believe in this government. Is this what our soldiers are dying for? So you thieves, here's these contractors. They're wondering why they're having problems. I'll give you some good advice, contractors. See that mayor right over there, Layton? Give him about $10,000 in campaign contributions, or hire a big law firm. I'm talking about democracy. Okay, that's where we're going to go with democracy and other things. So I'm just giving these guys some advice. Hire a law firm from down on South Franklin Street. Let them throw him about a $30,000 or $50,000 election party. Give him a $5,000 check. Wait till you see what happens for you. Magically, everything will go smooth for you. Because that's how corrupt this town is. So I want to bring up talking about. Okay, Mrs. Kane, I'm going to get to ask you one question. A few weeks ago when I came in here and I asked you, did you use your position as a city council person to help your son get the job through Eddie Day Pashensky? Now I'm going to ask you something. Are you going to stay with that statement that you didn't help him? Because when I talked to Eddie Day, he absolutely said that you called him to use his name to help your son get a job. Are you aware of that, Mrs. Kane?
Go ahead, Bob, you're on 6 minutes.
All right, now, when I was here, I talked about how corrupt this towing contract is. I pointed this out several times. How the mayor was warned, the city was warned, the chief was warned, what would happen with the fees. Right, and it seems like you won't answer me on that. Nobody seems to be able to do anything about it while our citizens are being robbed. Okay, so I want to ask you, now, as I brought out before, our citizens are being charged outrageous rates for the towing. You have the police lieutenant who was involved with getting cars on consignment. You have the city attorney, Attorney Binsko, supposedly is forming corporations for him. You had the mayor working as his agent to sell him a piece of property. And now we're going through with this Old River Road Bakery. We're looking to give them tax forgiveness. I want to ask you, what about the ambulance service? Why don't we take a kickback from the ambulance service? Because that way, where they're paying maybe $700 for a heart attack, maybe $600 for a stroke, why don't we do like the mayor did with the towing contract? Let them charge whatever they want. that way you rush somebody to the hospital with a heart attack, you charge them $1,500. Somebody with a stroke, charge them $1,200. And what's nice is, once they get rehabbed and come out of the hospital, and they get the bill from the city, and they see the bill, they have another heart attack or another stroke, and not only with that, we're going to make more money because they have to go back to the hospital. So I want to know, why aren't we getting a kickback from the ambulance service? That's what I want to know. Why don't we get a kickback from that? Like we do, like we're robbing the taxpayers. We're robbing those poor people that get their cars towed. The poor insurance companies are fuming.